Stitch Shifter here. Welcome tubers once again to Sewing Machine Heaven and another Learn by Viewing video in the continuing series, How Does a Sewing Machine Work? Thank you for joining us today in your unceasing quest for knowledge. Today we will be looking at a Glennen Machinery G-N-E-Z. Now if you read the video description you probably realize already that this is an embellishment machine. It's not a regular sewing machine. Now, when I first got this a couple years ago, I researched it and couldn't find anything on this machine, and it wasn't assembled. I had some parts in here with it. The belt was broken, a few other things, but it's in like brand new shape. It's barely got a scratch on it anywhere. So I looked it up again last week and I found out this is an embellishment machine, and what it does is it sews yarn or fabric strips or cord. I guess you could use like baling twine, or they have this faux fur on a string kind of stuff. I guess you could sew that with it. But what this is it's a sewing machine, but it doesn't have feed dogs down here if you look closely. And this is basically some groundbreaking video because there's no video, there's hardly any pictures of this machine anywhere, let alone video. But it's like a regular machine. It's got a bobbin in here. It's got the thread in there. It's just like a sewing machine. There's no feed dogs on the thing. It doesn't feed the material at all. But what it does is, and it's got this weird lever needle thing here on the side, and what I've determined is this is the thread guide, or the yarn guide, and what it does is the yarn will go up through this hole in the back here, and it's a little tricky. This came with it. It was in the box, so you hook the yarn like that, pull it through here, and then you've got to shove it down through this presser foot, which the presser foot goes up and down with the needle, so that's a little weird too. The presser foot doesn't lock down like a regular sewing machine presser foot would. Here, let me put a regular whole piece in here. Okay, now like I said, I don't have the book for this. I had to figure this out all by myself. If you look over here a little bit, there's a little loop up here, and I just stuck the yarn down through there, and with the hook that was supplied, put the hook down through this other little loop under here, which you probably can't even see. It's behind there. Pull that through there, and then go through this lever thing down here with the hook. Grab our yarn one more time, and this is I can't get the hook back through there. Got it hooked on the hook. This is a baby blanket yarn, it's called, and it's kind of thick and fluffy. It's not actually a spun yarn. If you pull through it, it's actually like a shoelace or a little strip tube of fabric with fleece on the outside. So it's like a fleece rod, I guess you would call it, more than a yarn. Oops, dropped the hook there. Now the next thing you got to do is get the yarn down through this. I probably should feed let's feed our bobbin thread up before we get that going. Whoops. Alright, let's start. Now the other thing that this machine came with is this handy little needle threader, which you really need with this, because if you don't have this needle threader, you can't get the thread through the needle with the yarn in there. You have to kind of disassemble the machine a little bit to get the thread in there. So okay, we got our thread in with our needle threader. Let's go pick up our bobbin thread, and you can see that little lever pushes back when the needle comes down. So let's see if we can go around, pick up our bobbin thread. There it goes. Get our bobbin thread out through there. Okay, now we'll take and put our needle thread down through the whole 2. Now we'll get our yarn down through the hole, and when you're putting your yarn needle in here, you have to make sure that where is it? Where'd it go? Here's your yarn needle. And the needle that's in the machine is a little bit bigger than this one, but if you look at the needle from the end, you can see there's a little groove in one side, and if you flip it over, it's a little bump on that side. Well, you want that groove side in towards your needle. You want your machine needle to actually pass through that little groove when it comes down, and when you have your yarn in that groove and the needle comes down, it pierces the yarn as it goes through. So let's see if we can make this thing work. Got our bobbin thread in, got our needle thread in. I got just a regular piece of canvas here, and we'll start this at the back here. There's no putting the presser foot down, it just works, and we just give it a little bit of and you got to keep your yarn really loose here. Just kind of put a little pile of it in there. And you can just give it a little kind of weird not having a presser foot pulling it through there, but that's basically what it does. Now, when you unload the thing here too, it's another little trick, because you don't want to cut your needle thread with your yarn, but you don't want to waste a lot of yarn, so you got to separate your needle thread and your yarn there. Cut your yarn off, then pull your threads out before you cut those off, because your thread uptake lever will pull that needle thread back through there if you're not careful. And basically that's what it does. It puts that fuzz layer on there, or yarn or whatever it is, sews it onto the fabric. And of course, you know, I didn't line this up very good or do it very carefully, but so there it is, the Glennen Machinery Omni Stitch, made in 1986, or copyrighted 86, 87, I guess they made them. And that's what it does. In the back there where I put the thread, or the yarn through there as well. When it runs. See if I can not pierce it. There it is, embellished. And that'd be nice if you had a quilt and you wanted a fuzzy edge on it, or a baby blanket, or if you were making a Santa Claus hat or something, you wanted to do the cuffs, you could do rows of that on there and make a, you know, little white furry fuzzy edge. So just kind of neat.